Clay Nunley is the head coach of the Randolph College Wildcats. Of course, Randolph magical storybook run last year as they hit all the way to the ODAC finals. On Tuesday, I had a chance to catch up with Coach Nunley to talk about the opponent coming up Wednesday night in the Virginia Wesleyan Marlins. We also reviewed some previous games and talked about the season as a whole. It's Clay Nunley, head coach of the Randolph College Wildcats, on the Sports Buffet podcast. Clay Nunley and the Randolph Wildcats getting ready to host Virginia Wesleyan on Wednesday, but since this is the first time we've caught up with Coach since Media Day, we'll kind of touch on a lot in a little bit of time. First off, I'm going to kind of put you in my shoes for a minute and be a reporter. What happened on Saturday against Emory that you did and did not like?
Well, we played a team that I think is really coming into their own quickly. They're doing a nice job, and they played extremely well. And you look at it, we gave up too many points, gave up too high a shooting percentage. How much of it was them, how much of it was us? Well, it's probably a combination of both. I think they're doing some really nice things, and I think we probably realized there were some things we needed to do better. And that combination was too much for us to overcome. I thought we did some things better offensively than we had been doing, but we got to be more sound in some areas, and credit to them. They took a lead, they held it. We had a chance to make a play on a couple of possessions there at the end when the score was tight, and we couldn't get those plays made, and you have to be able to do that down the stretch to win on the road.
Yeah, I was going to say, not to give this as an excuse, but that just also proves how tough it is to go in this conference and win on the road.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question. Anytime you can get a road win in this league, then you have to feel good. And we would have certainly felt good to have gotten that one on Saturday.
What have you been impressed with your team so far this season that maybe you had a few questions about coming into the season?
I think our balance has the potential to be pretty good. I think, we've probably got more capability to score in different positions at a certain level than we have in the past. Yet at the same time, we're young in some areas, we're growing in some areas, and I think we see that. We probably see that the most in our consistency. I think at moments our guys do a really nice job of showing what they're capable of, and now we've got to be able to sustain that for longer stretches and really make that who we are, as opposed to kind of being a flash in the pan of what we could be. And so I think that's kind of where we are right now. We've gotten some guys, a number of guys, that have stepped up and had some good moments for us. Now, hopefully, if we can get that to be more consistent and for those players to really prove that that's where they are in their development now, whether they're juniors and seniors or freshmen and sophomores, then I think our team will take a step forward.
Do you think everybody on the team, coaches, players, and everyone included, was ready for the target on your back, I think, coming into the season, especially when you did what you did last year?
I think I think our guys embrace the challenge of whoever we're playing against, and if they're ready for us, great. But obviously we can't control that. I just think our guys have an understanding of knowing how hard it is to win in college basketball. Period. Whether you're regarded as a team that is not going to sneak up on anybody, or whatever your record may be, or what have you. So I think our guys embrace that. I think for us right now, we're learning how to win close games. We've had a number of them here recently that I think could have gone our way and didn't, and we have to. We've got some guys probably going through some experiences now that are new for them, and we have to be able to learn that aspect of it as a team, as far as being able to finish games and win those kind of contests.
Did you sense a difference in mindset with some of your returners coming into the season that you maybe didn't see last season, or was it still pretty much even Steven, you think? In terms of, after all the success of last year, kind of what I just touched on, being the hunted now as opposed to the hunter, how do you feel like maybe the returners like Colton and so on kind of came into practice this year?
That's a good question. I think our guys certainly are. They take the success of the previous season, and it's something that they want to build on. It's something that they want to improve upon. At the same time, one of the things we've talked about with our team is that last year's last year, and this is this year's team, and this year's team has things that they need to prove, and this year's team has opportunities and challenges and unique situations, and that's a neat thing. And this team has to embrace that and embrace who they are. And I think our older guys, we want to rely on them to lead the way with understanding how hard it is to win at this level, and how you have to prepare, and what you have to do to really be competitive and have a chance to be successful.
Any surprises so far throughout the league, maybe than you thought coming into the season?
Well, I think it's not a surprise in that you really see a lot of parity and some strong teams. I think you certainly have to recognize that. I think teams that you expected to be at the top and really good are performing at a high level. Teams like Virginia Wesleyan, Hampton, Sydney, Guilford, and yet at the same time, I think you really have to tip your hat to I think Lynchburg is certainly really having a great season so far and doing a lot of nice things. I go back to Emory and Henry. I've been impressed with what they're doing. I think that probably had a lot of question marks coming into the season. They lost a really good player off of last year's squad, and they've had some young kids step up, and they're doing some nice things. They've lost some close games to really good teams. They've won some good games, and I was impressed seeing them in person.
Is there any guy on your team or any team that you've seen in the league that you think flies under the radar that doesn't get the pub or talked about like maybe some people do? Threw you on the spot on that one, so I can.
Well, no, that's a good question. I tell you, under the radar guys going kind of back through the league and who we've seen and so forth. I'll tell you, one kid that's gotten a lot better is the kid Kobe Williamson in Hampton, Sydney. In my opinion, watching him from his freshman year till now, looks like he's gotten bigger. He's refined his skills. He's not just a really good long athlete out there. Now he's kind of looking like a basketball player out there. He's making plays that are reflective of time I'm sure he's put in to get better as a player. And so, you got a lot of good players, and that team certainly has some really key guys. But I think he's a guy that just watching him, kind of somebody probably people don't talk about a lot, but really impressed me. Now, we haven't seen everybody through the league yet, and there are other guys as well, but that was kind of one that pops to mind.
Yeah, we'll have more answers as the season goes on. Before we get to Virginia Wesleyan, I caught Lynchburg and Avert earlier this season. I see a familiar face on the Avert bench, Pete Hamilton. What does it make you? What does it say? When a guy's been out of your program 1 year and he's on the bench somewhere else as an assistant coach, it must make you feel proud.
Yeah, well, he probably learned a lot of what not to do playing for me and playing for us. Pete's a very bright kid, and I call him kid. He's an adult now, but I mean he just. I'm very thankful as a coach to coach our players, our current ones and our former ones, and those guys that are. I was talking to our team recently about, running the race as a college athlete. Going through the 4 years and doing things the right way, and then if you do that, you really look back and have a lot of pride in what you were a part of, and you feel good about what you accomplished, and you can feel like that you can say you have no regrets, which I think is a very powerful thing to be able to say. And Pete's an example of a guy that did that as well as his classmates. So they ran the race. They went through this for 4 years, and they did great, and they did what they were supposed to do, and they reaped the rewards of that. But, they reaped them in terms of record and wins and so forth, and that's nice. But I think they also reaped it in terms of having a great sense of satisfaction and feeling like, I put everything into this, and I have a real strong peace of mind of that. I got a lot out of it in return.
As a coach, I know you want to see your kids succeed, whatever they do, whether they work on Main Street, McDonald's, or wherever, but it's got to be an extra special feeling when they take up your profession, too.
Yeah, it is. And it probably, I think the other thing it does is, as from my standpoint as a coach, we have one of our other seniors from last year, Tim Clark, helping us this year. Mm-hmm. And then another one, Cameron Shepard, who is coaching at William Byrd, where he went to high school in Roanoke. And I think one of the things about that class was that was a very smart class, basketball-wise. I mean, they really could understand the game well, and we've got other classes that I think are smart classes too, but that's a trademark of that class. They were really smart, and so I think you probably see that, and it's no coincidence that you got 3 of those 4 guys in coaching, and Caleb was the 4th, and he could have probably gone into coaching too if he wanted to. So, I think that's something that kind of speaks to me when I see these guys doing what they're doing. And say, I'm not surprised. They were smartest players. That translates probably into being a smart coach too.
I don't know if I would call Virginia Wesleyan the ideal opponent for a bounce-back game, but, hey, they're on the schedule. You got to take them. What impresses you about Coach Macedo's group?
The same things they always do. I think they, they're obviously from an ability standpoint, you're going to see long, athletic, versatile guys who can do a lot of different things. You've got guys that can score in different ways. I mean, they can drive it, shoot it, post it. They're going to score in transition, and obviously defensively they're going to really do a lot of sound stuff. And then to complement that, they're always well prepared. You know, you're not going to probably do a whole lot that catches them off guard, and that's credit to their coaches, credit to their players, and you know what kind of challenge you're in for. But I think that's, if again you're a competitor, you want to be in a situation where you play really good teams. I mean, that's part of being in our conference, and our guys understand that, and so it'll be a challenge that we're excited about and certainly very respectful of.
Without giving away anything of the game plan or whatever, obviously you want to give your team the best look against an opponent you got coming up, but I don't know how many teams can simulate what Wesleyan has athletically. If a team is that athletic, what can you do to simulate that?
You're really tested. You're trying to do probably some little off the beaten path things in practice to get your guys to really understand, the different, how fast they're going to come at you in transition, or how much pressure you're going to be under when you're handling the basketball, or all those different things. So you probably try to do that, and then again, if you've got some experienced guys, you really hope they can rely on what they, from their past experience of playing. I mean, we've got seniors who have played Wesleyan, I want to say 6 or 7 times now. So they've had their fair share of playing Virginia Wesleyan as well as other schools, and you hope that experience can come into play a little bit.
Coach, best of luck. We'll talk to you after that one, and we look forward to seeing you the rest of the year as well.
Great. Thank you, Bob.